So what would you do if you just received $183,000? Where would you put it? In today's economy, with the dollar in crisis, with banks failing right and left, where would you put $183,000? In this video, we're going to discuss a situation that came up in my life this last week where a client or friend actually reached out to me over social media and said, Paris, my son is selling his house and he's going to have $183,000 left over. What do you think he should do with it? So in this video, we're going to talk about some of the things that I shared with her that she should tell her son to do with it. My name is Paris Clough, and this is Financial Self-Reliance. On this channel, we talk about how to manage, protect, and grow your money. So in this video, I'm going to share with you, as I shared earlier, what I would advise somebody to do with their money. Where would they put it? Where should they put it in today's economy with things going the way that they're going? So we all know that with the debt in the last little while, unless you've been under a rock somewhere, there's been a lot of banks that have collapsed or banks that are threatening collapse. We've had the FDIC come in and say that they're going to fund and protect some of these accounts. We've had the Biden administration say that they're going to go above and beyond what the FDIC is shared to do. We've actually had the FDIC come in and say that they're going to require some of the bigger banks foot the bill for some of these issues. And so we're just seeing a lot of things happening in the economy right now. We're seeing countries that they're stopping using the dollar as their main source of currency to buy oil. We see Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, we have Iran, we have China and Russia, and we have Ukraine. We have all these things going on in the world. What do we do with our money right now? What do we do with this precious dollar that may or may not be around for too much longer, depending on the way things are going? We're going to have a correction. We've needed a correction for a while, and how far it might fall, I don't know. But I do believe that with this new Fed Now system that's coming out, and especially with them announcing that the central bank digital currencies, I think there's some underlying issues there, some underlying maybe conspiracies. Check in with your local conspiracy theorist friend to see what he has to say about it. But I think there's some things going on there. But if the dollar does collapse, I think it'll collapse to that central bank digital currency. And then that digital currency, which is still going to be run by the Fed, will kind of keep that. That'll be our safety net, if you will. So one of the first things that I mentioned was when she asked me this question about what would you do with $183,000? I said, well, what is he going to do with it? What are the plans he already has? And she said he wants to buy an RV so that he has a place to live, and then he can travel to different job sites because I think he's in construction. I said, great idea. What else does he plan to do with it? And he said, well, I think he's going to pay off some credit card debt. Excellent idea. If you have a chunk of money come in and you can pay off credit card debt, absolutely great idea to do that, especially all the consumer debt you can possibly pay off, pay it off. And then he's going to have some money left over. And she was like, where do we put it? We put it in a credit union? Do we put it in a bank? Do we put it where? Or do we put it in the stock market? Where do we put it? And one of my first questions was actually something that I really believe in and I have a strong conviction to, is food storage. Now, you might not hear any other financial advisor talk to you about food storage, but to me, food storage is critical, especially with inflation. You might buy a box of macaroni and cheese today for $1, and then in a year it's $2. Well, literally, you can still eat it. I don't care what the expiration date says. Mac and cheese lasts a long time. And so that was a really good investment, because in a year from now, you could eat that same box of macaroni and cheese, and you've spent $1 on it when everybody else is paying $2 for it. So I highly believe in food storage. I also believe in water storage. I mean, if we start to see some things happen with the dollar collapsing even further, and we start to see some panics, we might see some shelves in stores emptied before we're ready to, before we can even get there to buy stuff. So it's important to keep a pantry, what I call a home storage. And I personally recommend 90 days. So I asked him, I said, what about his food storage? Does he have any money set aside for emergencies? And then take some of that money and go buy food. Because if you have a 3 to 6 month of emergency fund, one of the things that you'll buy with that emergency fund is food. So food can be stored, cans of food, boxed food. There's all kinds of ways to store food. And so I say, look, if you're going to have a 3 to 6 month food emergency fund, you might as well have at least 3 months worth of food as part of that emergency fund. And that was my first question to her. And they said that he has a good food storage already and he's moving that direction. So I thought that was great. And I said, water storage is next. So make sure he gets some water storage. So he's going to have a place to live after he sells his house. So that was the first thing: buy the RV, pay off his credit card debts, get his emergency fund going. And part of that emergency fund is food storage and water storage, in my opinion. And the next thing I shared with him, I said, look, you're probably going to want to put some of that money into a couple of different institutions. Have some money in a commercial bank because you're going to need to do transactions with paying bills and other things. And then put some money maybe in a credit union, because credit unions are different than commercial banks, traditional commercial banks. But you might put a couple bucks in a regional bank, something that's local to your area, just to kind of help support that. But at the same time, this is a time where we're concerned about our own. You got to be looking out for yourself, being self-reliant with your own money. So you got to have some money in commercial banks to be able to pay your mortgage, pay your rent, pay your car payment. You got to have some money that's transactionable in that kind of an arena, and then have some money maybe in a credit union, which is good because credit unions usually have some really. I like having a credit union because if I ever need to buy a car or buy a home or refinance or get a home equity line of credit, having a membership at a credit union is critical. I literally saved myself over 10% interest in my car payment by joining a credit union versus just going down to a car dealership. It was ridiculous. I think they were going to charge me 12% at the car dealership, 12.9, and I went to a credit union and the credit union gave me 2.9, literally 10% difference. So definitely good to have membership at a credit union because they have great rates usually for their lending stuff, which is a big part of what we need in the world today, to transact business, to buy cars, to buy houses, etc. So get a credit union. The next thing I said was you got to get a high yield savings account. And you know that I promote high yield savings accounts. I love the Yada app for high yield savings account. There's a link in the description below. I love the Price Pool app. There's also a link in the description below. Those are my two favorite high yield savings account. Yada is great for the buckets and to be able to have sinking funds and be able to work that. Price Pool is excellent for the rate of return. I've got almost a 6% rate of return in a federal FDIC insured, although there's a little bit of question regarding that now, but it's an FDIC bank account that's high yield, obviously 4.4% minimum guarantee plus a chance to win every week. Additional monies, additional percentages. So I've had a great result with Price Pool. There's a link in the description below. I've shared a lot of videos. I think I'll put maybe a card up here for you to check out some of my videos on Price Pool. But having a high yield savings account is going to give you that strong foundation, that safety net, so that if you do go out and start investing, you're going to want to have a safety net of cash on hand. Right now, I think that the best thing that you can do is after you've got your savings account set up, is to go get some gold and silver. Honestly, you might find that crazy, but I think it's really powerful to get some gold and silver. There's a link in the description below if you want to get some good gold and silver. I'll put it down there for you where I buy my gold and silver. And also there's a great thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. I've actually done a video on it. I'll probably do another card here right now so that you can check into Goldbacks. Goldbacks are actually utilizable, or it's gold you can utilize right now to transaction, and it's a fantastic way to really get some utilization out of precious metals in today's economy right now currently. I'll put another link in the description below about Goldbacks if you're interested in that too. So but gold and silver, and then from there I would say, okay, take some money and get it into the market. Index funds are going to be fantastic. Index funds are going to be kind of your premier place to put extra money above and beyond what you have, because those index funds are going to give you the ability to have a good, strong, steady growth, great history. 80 to 90%, 80 plus, I'm going to say, let's just be honest, 80+% of money managers can't beat the index. So you're not going to go wrong by having your money in an index fund. And traditionally, the one that is highly recommended by most people, and I also recommend it, is the S&P 500. Now, what you want to do is when you go to invest, you want to make sure that the cost to manage your money there is very low. That's called the expense ratio. You want to keep that down low so that it's not that huge cost to keep that money invested with that firm. Some firms charge more money than other firms. So when you invest in an index fund, make sure you're investing in a fund that's really low. And I actually use M1 Finance for all my index investing, and I'm going to have a link in the description below for M1 Finance. Fantastic place to put money, set it and forget it, and just let it do its thing. And you can either put a lump sum in there, or you can trickle it in over time. Once, a couple, $100, a couple $1,000s a week or a month, depending on how much you have. But I also really love the Webull app. That's a great for dividend investing, because dividend investing is a great way to invest, because no matter what's happening in the market, if the stock value is up or down, the dividend traditionally still comes. And you can count on it. A lot of these companies have been paying dividends for 50+ years, and they have a really strong commitment to it. And you're not going to get a lot of those companies to change their mind just because something's happened in the economy. So just a couple blips in the economy. I mean, if somebody's been paying a dividend for 50 years, they've seen blips in the economy, they've seen dips, they've seen recessions, they've seen depressions, they've seen things happen in the economy, and they've weathered those things, and they still continue to pay those dividends. So that's where I would highly recommend getting good, strong, high yield dividend companies, index funds, dividend stock investing. And then from there, make sure that you absolutely make sure that you have life insurance for your kids, especially if you're a father, or if you're a mother, have life insurance for your kids. If you're married, have life insurance for your spouse. If you're single, have life insurance so that the people that do love you, like your parents, don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to take care of you if you were to pass away. So life insurance is something that I would definitely get and pay for if I had $183,000. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully it gives you a couple ideas what you would do, what I would do in this economy with how to kind of manage your money and keep your money safe. Definitely recap here. Make sure your income is strong. Make sure your savings is strong. Pay off your credit card debts. If you get a big lump sum of money, pay off your credit cards. Get your money in savings. Get a good 3 to 6 months worth of emergency fund. Get some food storage, water storage. Get some gold and silver. Get some money in the market, whether it's in index funds or dividend investing, because you got to balance your today with your tomorrow, with your next year, with your next 10 years down the road. You got to balance all that and keep it all in mind. Don't sell out your future for a benefit today. Please don't do it. If you missed the last video that I produced, check it out here. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel up here and check out this video up here that YouTube thinks you might like. Until the next one, have a great day.